Hello everyone, this is Maruf. In this video, I am going to talk about SAP Business One Add-ons. So this video is going to be of two parts. In the first part of the video, I'm going to show you how to uh, retrieve data on an add-on in SAP Business One. And in the second part of the video, I'm going to show you how to make an entry or how to insert data from an SAP Business One add-on. So there are a number of ways to create an SAP Business One add-on. You can use the SAP provided tool called SAP Business One Studio, or you can use SAP Business One Studio for Visual Studio, which is basically a package that comes with the SAP Business One installation file. And once you install that, the Visual Studio 2015 IDE will automatically integrate the SAP Business One project type. Let me show you what that looks like. So we go to, this is SAP Business, this is Visual Studio 2015. So about Microsoft Visual Studio, if you go there, you can check the model number. So this is 2015 update 3. And if you go to File, New, Project, you see you have a SAP Business One project type, which offers these two project types, which one of which is add-on project and the other one is from B1S file. So this B1S file is from that SAP Business One Studio IDE, which is provided by SAP Business One. So what you can actually do is, once you create a project there, an add-on project there, you can import the project in Visual Studio in the B1S format and edit that project. But what for this demonstration, we are going to pick SAP Business One Add-on project so that we can see how it works from scratch, because Visual Studio and C# will give the developer a higher flexibility of writing more code, which is not possible with just Business One Studio. Anyway, so I'm going to go over a project that I have created earlier to give you an overview of what we are going to do, and I'm going to try to replicate that project, recreate that project to show you how things work step by step. So let's head over to the Visual Studio project, and this is the one that I have created. I called it Goods Receipt QC. So QC stands for quality check. I have created this for a demo purpose where I have the find functionality and the add functionality. So what this project is going to do is going to allow you to select a purchase order number from the purchase order module of SAP Business One, and then once we click on find, we'll be able to load the item code, item name and quantity of that particular purchase order into the matrix. And once that's loaded, we click add and make an entry into one of the UDTs that we create. So let's click on start and see what this project looks like. In SAP Business One, this is the one that we are trying to run. Let's click on form 1. Okay, so there we go. Maximize it a little bit and click on choose from list. See, these are all the purchase orders of this database. I'm going to pick one, and if we click into the linked button, it will take me to the purchase order number 1. There you go. So these are the items we're expecting to show once we click the find button, and there it is. So we have the item code, the item name and the quantity approved. These are just the user-defined, all of these are the user-defined fields that you will need to create. In fact, you will need to create an user-defined table in order to save all of this data. So what I have done is, let me show you. Let's go to tools, customization tools, and user-defined table. This is the table I am using, which is called grqc, and it is of no object type. And the UDFs that I have created are in here as well. These are the UDFs that you will need. So this is the prerequisites that you'll need before you get on with the add-on coding. So make sure you have this arranged first. And now let's head over to wait, there's one more thing. We have seen how this find functionality works. So once we click add, the records are added. So if I click on user defined windows and grqc, seems like there's a multiple of data added. So this is the one we just added. So from starts from row number 6. Anyway, so looks a bit confusing because I have already tested it. So I'm gonna go back to Visual Studio and show you how to create this project. So once you open Visual Studio, you click on File, New, Project. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an empty solution, and not this one, blank solution, and I'm going to name this as BO Add-on Tutorials. I'm going to choose the location, keep it as it is, and hit OK. So once that's done, I'm going to click on it, right click on it, click on add new project, and then directly go to SAP Business One. So as I previously mentioned, this is already available as a package in your installation folder. So install SAP Business One package before you install Visual Studio, otherwise it will not be integrated. So once you have that, you select SAP Business One Add-on project, and let's name this project Find and Create, because these are the two functions that we're going to check in this particular demonstration, and click OK. So we have a form, and if you click on the toolbox, they have a list of tools that you can use, and the project structure looks like this. If you click on references, the SAP Business One SDK reference is already added to this project, and as well as system, Windows Forms, and XML, which are some essential references that we'll need. The form also has a CS file where we will actually write our code, a menu file which indicates where in the SAP menu our project will be displayed, and a program file that runs the project. So the first thing we're going to do is since we are going to replicate our previous project, let's rename this to tutorial. Actually, let's call it add-on tutorial, and change the mode to add, because that's ultimately what we are going to do, is add data from this. We can actually leave it to OK for now, but this will be all right. Change the object type to 22. Now if you do not know what this is, the object type 22 refers to the purchase order object type, and similarly the object type of OCRD is 2, the object type of item, which is OITM, is 4, and so on. A list of objects is already available in Google, and SAP also provides the information with its help file, so you can find that information there. And now let's add a static text, which will be our label, and let's change the caption property to PO number for now. Alright, and add an edit text as well. Let's call this, let's actually leave the unique IDs as it is. We will need a ChooseFromList, and change the object type to 22, which is again the purchase order ChooseFromList type, and bind this edit text to that choose from list. So we go to properties and click on choose from list UID, and we select our CFL or choose from list. Change the autofill property to true and the alias to doc entry. So this is the name of the column which is indexed at 0, which is what we will be loading here. So basically we are going to load the purchase order entry number into this edit text box, and we are going to need a data source as well. So let's click on DB data source, change this to at grqc, which is our UDT name, and the at prefix is a SAP convention for naming its user defined tables. And let's head over to edit text once again, change this data source to add grqc and the alias to u underscore PO number. If you have noticed previously, the user defined field that we created for grqc is PO number. So the U underscore is just the prefix is the naming convention for any UDFs in SAP. So we're gonna need that. Once we have that, let's also include a linked button, just so that this linked button can link the number to the original purchase order. We're going to have to change the link to item 0, which is our edit text, and the linked object to 22 once again. So let's see if this runs all right. Let's click on start, head over to SAP. So this is our project, click on form. This seems to run all right. Let's click on choose from list. This, yep. So let's click on link button and see if it takes us there. No matching records found. We might have made an error. Let me see what that is. Let's go back. Let's click on this. Linked to item 0 is fine. Linked object 22 seems fine. I do not exactly see an error here. U underscore PO number, CFL is alright. Everything seems great. Let's make sure this is actually item. Yep. So this is item 1, and I made an error here and linked it to item 0, which is probably the text value. So one important thing to keep in mind is to change the unique IDs, but since I have limited time, I'm going to try to finish this as fast as possible. Let's go ahead and try to run the project once again. Open this up. Somehow we do not see the link button anymore because it's not supposed to appear before we choose something. So now that we click on the linked button, the purchase order opens just fine. See, the purchase order entry is 1 and we have these items. Alright, so things work great so far. Let's go back to our project, stop this, and what else do we need? We need a button. Let's call this find, and we'll need a matrix with a bunch of columns. Let's go to columns, click on this button and rename this to item code. Give it a unique ID. Let's call this call code. change the type to linked button so that it can link to the item master. We're gonna have to change the link object type to 4, which is the object for item master. And let's see what else we need. We need a data source. So we need a data source for this. Let's select another data source. This data source will refer to the child table, which is POR1 for purchase order. So if we head over to SAP once again, go to purchase order. So the POR1 refers to this portion of the table, this portion of the document. Okay, so let's go back and configure this correctly so that the data source would be POR1 and the alias is item code. Let's add another one. Let's call this item name, call name. The alias should be description and the data source is once again POR1. Now if you're a developer, you will be able to figure this out easily. The table name is POR1 and the column name is description, and it's not item name. Make sure that you get this alias person right, and you can easily find them from the SQL server or from SAP Query Manager. So let's add another one and call this quantity approved. Call QTY-APP. QTI is fine, and the alias is quantity. The table is once again POR1, the data source, excuse me, and we'll probably not need another column at this stage, but let's just add one so that later we can see how all of the data is entered into the UDT. This would be quantity rejected and call QTYR. Okay. Okay, so looks like we have all the columns. Let's just click on OK. And now what we will need is probably we're going to have to write some code basically. So let's double click on find. This is our button, and the first thing that we're going to have to do is to declare some of the objects provided by SAP Business One. So I'm going to save some time and copy paste them from my previous project. Let's go back there. Let's bring this on. We're going to need these properties as well. So the things that I have copied pasted here are actually record set class, company class, form class, application class, and user table class. So 3 of these are from SAP BOPSCOM, the other 2 are from SAP BO UI. So one is the SAP DI API, the other one is UI API. So these are the objects that you will need. We also have a couple of variables that we're going to use later on, and we're going to have to declare some of these properties, some of these objects. So let's go back to our project once again and save some time and copy paste this. One thing you can do is you can change the variable names, the property names. It's always a great practice to change the unique IDs of the properties, but I'm going to leave them as they are to save some time once again. And we are declaring O application for the application object, the O form for the forms, and O company for the company. We are using get di company method for this company object as well, which we will need for connection properties. Now what we will need is to write the code for the find button. So I'm going to copy paste once again and save some time. Okay, so we are going to go step by step into this code. Before that, let me change the name of the properties so that we don't get an error. This is matrix. All right. Okay, so a recap of what we have done so far. We designed our form, and then we have set some of the properties to data sources and choose from list, and we have brought some of the objects that we will need to write some code. We have declared some of the objects to initialize them, and now what we are going to do is go through the code for the find button. So the bubble set event needs to be set to true. This is an SAP standard, so that the event or the function actually runs. And the O record set is something that I have previously discussed in my DAPI video. So this actually allows you to use the do query method that holds a query, an SQL query, and you will need that SQL query to further uh, have the application do whatever you need to do. So basically what I did is a bit of an if else block that checks if the edit text box is empty. So if it's empty, it throws an error message, and if it's not empty, what it does is it takes the edit text value to this variable called doc entry, and set the query variable to an SQL query, and do query takes that variable as a parameter. And then what I did is write an if else block with a for loop to load all the data that belongs to that particular purchase order that we will retrieve into the edit text box. So the matrix dot add row is the function that adds row to the matrix, and it keeps on adding the row for as long as we reach the end of the uh, what do you call end of the table, right? So this is the little bit of code that I've written. This is just the standard. This is how SAP wants you to write your code so that it can easily load the data into the matrix. I'm not going to go into the details of this because it's well, there's nothing to really understand here, except that your columns need to be converted into strings, because that's how it will be able to read. The application will be able to read the data in the string format. So item code was our first column, description was our second column. We added two other columns. One is quantity accepted and approved, and quantity rejected, but I'm going to just keep one of them here, because we want the other column to be not to hold the value but to hold 0. So we're going to see in just a bit what that looks like. I'm going to run the project and see if everything works as expected. So this is our project right now, find and create form 1. We can change the name of this as well eventually, but I'm going to leave them as they are right now. So this is the add-on we just created. Let's find a purchase order. Actually, let's choose another one besides one. Let's choose 5 and then click on find. So this is our, so the find function works just fine. If you click onto this one, the link button takes you to the item master. So this is what I was talking about. I have only used quantity approved, and it loads all the data and leaves this as 0. So so that we don't have to go to every row and change the values one by one. Alright, so the find functionality works just fine. So this is what our end goal was for this first part of the video. In our next video, we are going to see how to insert all of the data that we just loaded into our user defined table. And if this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and comment down below if there's anything else you want to see. So until next time, thank you.